You bit me before, ain't right? I'm not risking it again.
No, he's not going to the Preakness. I'm going to take the horse to Saratoga tomorrow, and he's going to train up there for the Belmont.
What did you make of his race? Did you watch the head-on at all and the bumping that kind of went on between him and Forever Young?
Yeah, there's definitely some bumping going on there, and I mean throughout the race it was he was ran a remarkable race. He's 18th early, and I was quite worried midway through the card because the track seemed to be favoring horses, close up. I didn't see horses making up on the charts more than probably 3 lengths all day, so I was concerned about it, and I talked to Tyler about that in the paddock, how the track was playing in my eye. But there's not too much we could do about it because he doesn't have that much early speed, and so we had a plan to come out of there and hopefully at least pass 4, 5, 6 horses up the inside. It just didn't work out that way because he had to just pause just momentarily off the first bend to get around a horse that didn't look like a good one to be following there. So he had to come around that one, and then from there on out, he just, he made his move on the turn. Had to go wide around these horses, in against the track, and it likely took away just a little bit of his kick late. And when horses are fatigued, and they have a tendency to lean in just a little bit, like we saw with his 2 last wins, it's gonna be more exaggerated when they're more tired, right? So he had so much to do. Our feeling is by the time we got to the 8th pole, he was a little tired. He was leaning in a bit. There's some bumping going on. What Tyler was really attempting to do was make room for his left stick, which is the horse really respects and keeps him straight. And he was just looking for a sort of a pathway to use his left stick. And with the bumping and the tight duel between those 2 horses, it disarmed him with his stick. All he had was a rein to pull on, and it really hurt his momentum.
Did you think he won it all, or did you have to
live? I didn't think the horse won. No, and then I saw that we got a terrific bob, but it's tricky with these wires. I mean, this wire's at the mirror there and not at the beam. When you look at the beam there, it looks like he's maybe just won or is close to a dead heat, but actually the wire's where the mirror is. So, it's a tough beat.
What were your emotions? What were your emotions as he was getting down to the wire and you thought you might have had a chance to get up?
I was. I mean, obviously, I was just trying to. There's 3 horses there that all could have won right the last jump, so there wasn't a whole lot to think about other than just watching it.
So Tyler did lose his stick in the last. He dropped it, or
no.
Oh, okay.
He couldn't use it because he has a horse right here. He's got no room to use his left stick. So
because in the photo it looked like he didn't have it. But,
he didn't say that to me, that he didn't end up coming back with it.
I think he still had it.
Yeah.
I think it was just in close proximity.
He just told me that he goes, I said, well, there's some bumping, and it looked like you put your arm. He says, well, I initiated it, but then he was coming into me, and I was trying to just make only a pathway to use my stick without hitting his horse. Obviously a foul, not only is bumping, a foul is actually striking your opponent with the stick. So he didn't want to do that either. So he's trying to create a path not only to use it to straighten out my horse, who really respects that. He's trying not to foul the other horse with his stick if he strikes the horse.
Were you surprised, Chad, that there wasn't an inquiry given the contact between your horse and the 3rd place horse?
No, I wasn't surprised. I didn't think it was. I felt it was going a bit both ways. It's not always about who initiates it. It's also about the entire race all the way to the wire, and then the other horse started to lean back in, and that's what horses do. And I didn't feel like there was a foul was committed to me, but and I understand what he was attempting to do, and I understand what the other horse was attempting to do. In my mind, I think they know, they don't want him to be able to use his stick either, so.
Put into words just the balance of emotions of having the result be disappointment, but also having him go out there and just validate what a quality horse he is.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the horse. Like I said yesterday, I'm just as disappointed with the result, just the last little jump there, but I'm so proud of the horse. In my mind, he ran the best race. It's no disrespect to the winner. It's a hard race to win. Everything has to go right. I mean, with the winner, the horse showed up and he was prepared right and he ran terrific, and you have to have a trip where everything goes right. I mean, he was actually in front of Dornick. I mean, nobody would have thought that. And then Rosario, makes room, and then the horse goes through, and you're going to need. It's not his fault the door's open for him. I wish that happened for me. So, I don't think lesser of the winner's performance. It's just an example of 2 trips, in a 20-horse field. So everything went right. I think when you go through back the trips some of these winners had, I studied the last few years. What dream trips, But that's what has to happen here. There's a lot going on. And for us, I don't necessarily think we had a bad trip. I just think with our horse, he's very far back on a track that favors speed, and he had to, go around a lot of horses and stuff. He used a ton of ground to make up. And for him to just almost get there, despite all that, I feel he really ran the best race, and we'll see going forward the rest of the year if he stays healthy and where he stacks up in this division in terms of his entire body of work.
And with that Tuscan Gold third in the Louisiana Derby, any chance he would run the race?
Yeah, there's a chance. I'm likely to enter that horse in the Peter Pan and just take a look, expecting a big field for that race. My initial thought was to definitely go to the Preakness. But I'm also thinking with that horse, there's maybe needs a little bit more experience, and a Peter Pan to the Belmont as well might suit him. I don't know if I have enough seasoning in that horse for the Preakness, but I'm thinking about it.
The Preakness looks like, coming up really light, including the Derby winner is no sure thing at all to go.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
He might just train up to the Belmont.
Really?
So something to think about.
With the domestic product, how did he come out of his race, and how did you kind of assess his trip?
Domestic product lost his shoe leaving the gate, unfortunately, and grabbed his quarter pretty good, and then was a bit keen down the backside. I read was trying to tuck in, and then the horse was pulling and stuff like that, and he said I got him to the outside, and then he just was never happy. He just never really relaxed from me. We saw the grabbed quarter and the missing shoe when he came home. I thought when he broke, he stumbled a bit or stutter stepped braking. I could see that when I was watching the horses break. I didn't think anything about it until he came back. So I'm fairly certain that's where he lost his shoe. So I'm just going to throw that race out. That's a tough thing to do, to go around the field in the Derby with 3 shoes. So I do like that horse, and hopefully he comes back good.
Did you put unique insight in the Peter Pan?
Yeah.
As well?
Was last night one of those nights when it crosses your mind that sports can be cruel?
Yeah, when like I said, I think yesterday in interview too, when you're in professional sports, at that high level, no matter what, all the major sports, it often can come down to inches. But related to so many different sports, so many different championships, so many different final games, and it's when you're on the winning end of them, it's great. When you're losing end, you realize how really tough it can be. So I went into the Derby very optimistic. I really felt I had the best horse. Nobody was really going to convince me otherwise, and I wasn't out here to broadcast it, but I knew, what I had. But I also went in prepared for the absolute worst, because it's just such a hard race to win. So many things have to go right up until the weather. I mean, the day before the tracks have passed, yesterday it dried out fine, but I don't know what, just little things can change fate. This horse runs great on a big sloppy track. I'm sort of wishing now the race was on Friday, and maybe things would have been different. But it's just so to your question, it's just it can be brutal, a bit brutal dealing with the agony of defeat sometimes. But I went in very confident, but absolutely expecting all the things that can go wrong.
How's he doing?
He looks good. He's a little tired, which is, this horse is, he's a real laid back horse and he rests a lot, but when I brought him out here, he's a little more tired than he normally is after his races. So I think giving him the 5 weeks at the Belmont is definitely the right thing to do.
Baffert can't compete in the Derby, so he kind of has fresh horses for the Preakness in much the same way that you won your 2 Preaknesses with the horses that skipped. How does that change the dynamic of the Triple Crown with, like, you know, kind of Baffert waiting on the wings for the Preakness?
It doesn't change things for me.
Yeah.
But if you're saying the fields
Yeah, the
is
field,
light,
yeah,
I
yeah.
could see maybe some people are considering that.
Yeah.
I was beat the same way in the Preakness last year by just a small nose or
Yeah.
half a head with a Baffert horse.
Right.
And I had a fresh horse too.
Right.
So it's not like I mean at least last year for me I actually had the race won and the horse came back, so I don't know, it was a close finish last year. I don't think people should the trainer should be definitely avoiding him. I know he has
Right.
nice horses and he's a great trainer, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't worry about things like that. I just run, but
Yeah.
apparently a lot of people are if they're not running.
Do you think also the Belmont being a mile and a quarter this year makes a big difference because the horses just they don't have to see the mile and a half?
Absolutely. I think it's probably a slightly different group of horses, but yeah, I think that's going to make a difference. It should be a full field and people wanting to wait up for the Belmont.
How many more days they're going to be walking around before you get them back on the track?
I'm not sure. Probably 3-4 days from now, this horse will be back to the track, but it'll be up in Saratoga
When does he leave?
tomorrow.
What would your Louisiana Derby horse? What would be the factors in determining whether he went in the Peter Pan or whether he went in the Preakness?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to get up to New York and take a look at that horse training up until the Peter Pan, see how the race comes up, see where he draws because it's likely to be a big field I'm hearing. Weather, keep an eye on that Preakness, and sort of go from there. Wait, to Dave's point, with the Belmont maybe being a little more attractive, I don't know that waiting for the Belmont Stakes for a lot of horses is necessarily going to be an easier race than the Preakness just because Baffert's running in it. I mean, I don't think it's going to be an easy race to Belmont. I mean, if he's running in it, so that's not going to be easy. And then there's other horses. Todd had a horse on the undercard. I don't know if he's running in the race. That horse looks really good. I mean, there's some other fresh horses out there. So it's nice to be no walk in the park.